Laugh out loud, it's the place to be, where geeky minds meet so naturally. From pixel legends to blockbuster heart, dive right in, let's set this vibe apart.
And we're live! It's a beautiful sunny day here at midnight on Sunday night. It's almost if it was 1:30 in the afternoon.
1:30, I'm still in the morning.
Oh, that's right, you're in California. Hey everybody, welcome to the BM show. Where we ask you to join the movement.
Yes. And if that does look like corn, then yes, you did eat that last night.
And I wasn't inspired to make up a theme song on the top of my head to this week, so sorry.
And I do want to point out once again, I am drinking Rayleigh's water. Cha-ching! What's that sound? That's Rayleigh's taking your money. So you might as well shop there.
There's no Rayleigh's here.
Well, that's not.
Do you want me to go and get some that says Stop and Shop? I don't think you have Stop and Shop there. So.
You may, hey, if you have, I'm drinking Rayleigh/Albertsons water. Do you have Albertsons?
Nope.
I'm drinking Rayleigh/Albertsons/Save Mart water. Yep.
Nope.
I'm drinking elite water that you do not have. May you die of thirst.
I have this thing called a faucet, and it has water. And then I have a big thing of Poland Springs in the fridge for some reason.
Yours is just water. Mine is a sparkling water beverage.
I have a Soda Stream. I can make all the sparkling water that I want.
This is like soda, but just water soda. It's watered down soda, I guess, with the hint of berries.
Okay. That would be wasted time there.
Well, we're talking about.
That was the time I was going to use. I was going to use that time to come up with a off the cuff theme song for the show, but you wasted all the time. So
Good.
okay, so I was explaining to Mike right before we got on the air that I inadvertently kind of set us up with a partnership. Inadvertently, didn't mean for this to happen. We had an episode that we're still going to use one of these weeks because stuff happens. We might miss a week, so I want a brand new episode to show every week. So we did one where we talked about.
Oh, don't tell him. Just let him find out later.
Well, we talked about something, and it's religious, so I had my pastor preview the episode to make sure that we don't go over the edge on anything. He shared it on his meme page. So if you want a sneak peek, look up Pastor Humor on Instagram or Facebook. And it's spelled like pastor, like a religious pastor, humor, not pastor as in where cows go, not a pasture, like where cows raised. So I'm sure there's a pasture humor as well where they make cow jokes. But this one is pastor humor. There's a couple of them, but the one you're looking for has a P and an H as their logo. If you want to get a sneak peek of what episode's going to air the week we decide to take off, whenever that ends up happening.
PNH, Pure Cane Spirit. You don't know that one, do you?
Nope.
Wow. I mean, this is the difference.
It's a different country over there, huh?
It really is.
You got rallies and or whatever that place is called, and then with their fruity water, and we got fruity water here too, but not from that place.
And we have Carl Jr.
Yeah, we don't even have Hardee's here. Hardee's doesn't make it over there.
Hardee's. Wow. I was gonna do that whole Carl Jr. Hardee's thing, but obviously you live in communist US.
Yes.
You don't have anything.
Yes. From the we don't want to get political. I'm gonna start picking on California here, but my grandfather used to call California the land of fruits and nuts.
Yeah, now it's just the land of nuts.
What's that?
Now it's just the land of nuts. Well, no, I guess we do have. Yeah, you're right. We still do have. I didn't catch that the first time, and now I did.
I mean, you got all those wineries, all the wine fields with all the grapes.
Yeah.
They got San Francisco. That's what my grandfather meant.
I picked that up because I kind of mentally blocked San Francisco from my whole memory of the state.
We should do an episode once about like how it is to be a conservative in a liberal state.
It's not just it's not that San Francisco is just a disaster in general. At least I spent one time I wanted to go to a concert. I spent 2 hours driving around looking for just a place to park
Mm-hmm.
before just saying I don't like this town. I'm just gonna up and leave. And I up and left, and I felt good about myself up and leaving San Francisco.
I've never been there. I used to want to go, and then recent like reports over like the last year or so of what it's like there. I'm like, maybe I don't want to go there.
Yeah, I tell my friends like overseas because they know San Francisco that I tell them if you come to California, don't go to San Francisco. So
Yeah.
that's changed a lot. But anyway, that's for a different show, probably.
That's a different show. But on the same vein, I actually do have a way of transitioning over to what we're actually talking about. Imagine you live in a pretty conservative state. Say you live in, I don't know, Indiana. And you got your friends in Indiana, and all of a sudden you and like maybe 3 of your friends and your principal, for some reason, all moved to Los Angeles together. I don't know why. What? You suck. So you all moved to LA together, and you're going from middle school to high school. Imagine if they made a show about this and never explained why you were in Indiana for middle school and all of a sudden you're in Los Angeles for high school. They never explain it. They never ever explain it.
Did
What-
they really make a show like that?
They really did.
Whoa!
You know what it's called?
What?
Good Morning, Miss Bliss.
What's
No. No, hold on. It was called that. It was later changed to Saved by the Bell.
When you wake up in the morning and the longest had a warning, I don't know what that second line is, and I never have.
Never make it on time.
Dude. What is the second line? Because I think when you wake up in the morning, I think
Wake up in the morning and the sun gets up. The sun is up. You're yawning. No, you live in California.
the show is really boring.
Indiana to California. No, okay, I'm gonna have to do a retrospective here. So here's a little bit of history. The show Good Morning Miss Bliss was supposed to be about Miss Bliss, the teacher. It was originally on the Disney Channel. It lasted for one entire season and then it got canceled. But the guy who made the show, Peter Ungle, went and said, hey, there is something here. You know, after looking at some of the reviews from some people, we realized they liked the students more than they liked the teachers. So Miss Bliss got fired. They picked up half the cast. What's that?
Goodbye, Miss Bliss.
Goodbye, Miss Bliss. I don't know if she was fired. She probably maybe it was something like she didn't renew her contract. I don't know. But they went and they changed the show. They took as many of the cast members as they could. They moved it from Indiana to Los Angeles, and they called it Saved by the Bell. Put it on Saturday mornings on NBC, and people like me grew up with this unrealistic idea of what high school was going to be.
Yeah, and you're right.
Very unrealistic idea of what high school.
Let's really put though. We need to put the how much of influence and just the ultimate power that this show did, because if you look at what it was around, it was airing around cartoons, Saturday morning cartoons, but it wasn't a cartoon.
This was like, okay, some of the kids don't know about this. Saturday morning used to be all about cartoons. It was a day that kids were guaranteed that they had off for the day. They were probably going to wake up early because they've been waking up early for school all week, and they don't have church. So you're guaranteed that pretty much every kid's going to be at home. So they started showing cartoons. It became a big thing on Saturday mornings. And NBC had this wild idea of saying, hey, we got teenagers who might be doing this too. Let's show Good Morning Miss Bliss season 2.
Without Miss Bliss.
Poor Miss Bliss.
Yeah, that's what happens.
She was see now Good Morning Miss Bliss is not considered to be season 1 of Saved by the Bell, and like when you go for reruns or whatever, but she was pretty much the foil to Zack Morris. Oh, Zack Morris. What a piece of trash that guy is. You know, some YouTube channel should come up with a ongoing series where they break down all his evil schemes.
Too late.
Oh, sorry, you did that.
Yeah.
Uh,
You know,
Funny
do
or
you really
die.
wanna- do you really want to jump into Zach Morris's character at right now, or because I don't think he was as bad as the Zach Morris's trash series makes him out to be.
Uh,
I don't. He's
okay. I used to watch the show as a kid, and then when I started watching I've been only watching Zack Morris's trash. I started watching it when it started airing on YouTube. I think it's hilarious. It's the only thing on Funny or Die that I watch. That and they have a very special episode, which is pretty much the same thing, but for non Saved by the Bell stuff.
Wow.
And they really paint him as an absolute scumbag, and he okay, so I watched the episode where I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I'm so watched the episode where Jesse gets addicted to caffeine pills. Now, the story behind that, they wanted to make it harder than caffeine. They wanted to put her on some
Speed.
speed or something. Yeah, they wanted to give her speed, and the network was like, "You're on at 10 o'clock in the morning on Saturday." No. That's a hard no. We can't have, one of our main characters get addicted to an illegal street drug. So they made it caffeine, and it's one of the most iconic episodes of the program. And Zach Morris's trash from Funny or Die made him look like the biggest scumbag on the planet. And after rewatching that episode, along with watching some episodes of Good Morning Miss Bliss, because I thought, well, I'm going to start from the beginning. Well, I'm going to sit here and the whole 2 days I have to prep for this show, I'm going to watch every single episode of Saved by the Bell. I didn't do that. I got other stuff to watch. So I watched like the first 2 episodes of Good Morning Miss Bliss. I watched the episode that episode with Jesse and the caffeine pills, and then I rewatched the Funny or Die episode of Zach Morris's trash, and I have to say, yes, they took a half an hour episode, turned it into 2 minutes, but man, did they hit all the points. They hit every single plot point perfectly.
No, 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 no. I don't think so. I think a little bit is embellished. Now, what you have to understand about Zach Morris is really to depict your average American kid growing up. In each episode, it's him growing up because he has to be that little douchey Zach Morris character in the beginning, because at the end he's going to learn that lesson about how he was that douchey character and how he shouldn't be, and that's a whole growing up thing. But the Funny or Die took it a little too far. They made an emphasis on Zach Morris wants to exploit his female friends for money. He never really brought up money in this, and I don't think that seemed like it would be one of the things he would be looking into, but not the only thing.
So because it wasn't the money, it wasn't explicitly said, all of a sudden he's an okay guy.
Well, no, no. I'm just saying this that Zach defends his friend by pushing his friend. I mean, you're if I'm like, hey, you're on drugs, and you're like, no, I'm not. You're gonna believe yourself.
Okay, that big moment, they did paint that worse than it was.
Yeah.
That actually was a good sign of Zach Morris. When I was watching the show as a kid, he was my favorite character.
Mm,
I used to love watching him trying to do these scams because I knew at the end of the day, none of them were gonna work.
yeah.
So, maybe like if you go in with that idea, like number one, it's a comedy show. And he is, he's antagonist protagonist person. You know, you don't know which way he's gonna go, but you always know that like Jesse's always gonna go for the right thing, and she's kind of like the moral center of of the show. But the one episode where Jesse becomes the problem, and then Zach becomes the one who brings her back. That is a good, interesting dynamic. Oh my god, look at me talk about this. Uh,
No, think about don't think of talking about it is Zach growing up is that, you know, when we're young, we can only focus on ourselves. We see everything through our perspective. And that's what Zach is. Every single episode, he starts out, he can only see things through his perspective, but by the end, he's grown and he sees things, you know, from every perspective.
So
And
that's
that's
why
why for it to work.
that's why when they kind of lost something when they lost the Miss Bliss character. I mean, I think they tried to make up for it a little bit with Jessie because she's got a lot of like she's being now the moral center where it used to be Miss Bliss, but Miss Bliss was a person of authority who could help Zach, and Zach looked up to her. Like in the very first episode, he's already lying.
Yeah.
He comes in and he's like, "It's the first day of school. Hey, Zach, what did you do this summer?" "Oh, I was in summer camp and I told some girl I was in ninth grade and I drive a car."
Oh no, he didn't bring up the drive a car until a portion into the episode.
Okay.
It was such experimental.
After he ran into the girl who now goes to
Yeah.
John F. Kennedy Middle School in Indiana,
You know,
a mere months before a bunch of people said Indiana sucks, let's move to LA.
do you ever think about the fact that wait, you ever think about the fact that maybe that there's a one of those what do they call them? The escalators that go, you know, straight rather than up. You know what I'm talking about? The walkways.
Yeah, you don't go a lot of airports.
Walkway that went from the middle school all the way to Bayside High.
It was an underground tunnel.
It was on the yes.
It was made during the Cold War, which you know, this was just after the Cold War, so nobody's using those tunnels now. So they just figured, hey, let's have Zack Morris and a few of people that he chooses, which he chose like Screech, and he picked Lisa.
Uh-huh.
The rest of his friends, I guess, who needs them?
No, schools were built in the 1400s. They just catapulted people over.
Oh, he catapulted him over. You just see Zack Morris, Screech, Lisa, and Mr. Belding just flying across America. All of a sudden, like, and in like later episodes, like when Jesse's like his next door neighbor, and they grew up together. But he's from Indiana. Did Jessie did she go to John F. Kennedy Middle School too? But she just was never on the show. Was she Miss Bliss, and Miss Bliss went into a time machine?
That's a good question. Maybe it's like the Benjamin Buttons thing. So as the seasons go along, Jesse just gets younger and younger and younger.
Then she ends up in that movie she was in.
I gotta admit though, I never liked Jessie. I always wanted her to get as little time on as possible.
Now her character now I'm getting my stuff from the internet, but this sounds realistic. She tried out for Kelly Kapowski, the actress, and they liked her, but not for the Kelly Kapowski part. So they actually wrote Jessie in as a new character just for her.
Gotcha.
So that's probably why in the first season, Zach and Slater are fighting over Kelly, and then eventually Slater just goes out with Jessie, and Zach gets like the greatest prize of them all, you know, Kelly Kapowski. You know, it's like, you know, growing up, he's like, man, I don't know a single girl that looks that hot. Why is this show not real?
I'm gonna jump in for a second because I gotta mention we're talking about Zach being trash. Let's talk about Slater being trash.
Yeah, he's a character that was well-rounded in a way that sometimes he was a good guy, and then sometimes, yeah, he was like right there with Zach. Or the one time, I think he was the bad guy in one of them, wasn't he? I don't remember.
Sure he was.
Yeah.
But I mean,
So-
he's just up there with Zach's level, like the majority of the time.
He is it with that one episode where Zach wanted him to move? Zach wanted his best friend to move to Hawaii because his best friend was making moves on Kelly Kapowski. The power that Tiffany Amber Thiessen threw around at that school, man.
That's that's kind of nice of him actually, because he's concerned about his friend and wants his friend to have a really nice place under the sun where he can relax. And
Oh, see, I never looked at it that way. I mean, what's better, Los Angeles or Hawaii?
Exactly.
I've been to both, and I think Florida's nicer.
you could you're saying, okay, you could either stay here with Jesse or go to another state where you can relax on the beach, drinking fruity drinks and watching women shake their butts in hula skirts.
And little did he know that in a mere 3 or 4 years, he would have saw them anyways, because that's where didn't Zach and Kelly get married in Hawaii, or did they get married in Las Vegas?
I don't remember. I think I thought the senior trip was to Hawaii or something like that.
Oh, that's what it was, a senior trip. I remember they went to Hawaii at some point.
Yeah.
That's how big this show was. People don't understand how big this show was. Okay,
And we have to point out that how long has it been since we really watched the show?
I haven't seen the show in probably 20 years, right? Other than like this week, just to prep for today. I haven't watched it in 20 years.
I mean, I look at this and I look at something like Saved by the Bell, and this is probably what really paved the way for things like the teen soap operas like Beverly Hills 90210.
Mm-hmm.
Or,
Tiffany Amber Thiessen ended up jumping to after Saved by the Bell ended.
yeah.
So even they have a connection, it's like
Yeah.
where she got the short hair, played Valerie.
Okay, stop. Don't be honest.
Oh, I'm sorry. Anyways, back to the point. Let's go over the lineage of the whole run of what this show, this show, what it led to. First of all, it came from in Good Morning Miss Bliss and became Saved by the Bell. They graduated. It became Saved by the Bell college years.
That didn't last.
It lasted for one season.
Yeah, it lasted for one season. I think people were done with it at that point.
Now, when they did the college years, they took like Slater, Zach, was it Slater, Zach? They had Dustin Screech, forgot his name. Dustin Diamond, yeah, Screech. I think Kelly was in it too. And then the rest of it were all new cast members, right?
Yeah.
I don't think Lisa and Jesse decided they go to real colleges and not go to Surfer High or wherever the hell they went.
Remember, Jesse got into Stanford for taking all those caffeine pills.
That's right. See, drugs do work. They work really well, which is the problem. Don't do drugs. No, so Jesse went in, yeah, because she went to Stanford, and then Lisa went to some fashion academy, if I remember correctly. Oh, God, Ben, why do you know all this crap?
Which is actually was really a bad move, because the whole Lisa Screech thing was it was going through the whole series.
So they had to replace it's always interesting when they got to replace them with like similar characters. So I don't even remember who they replaced them with, but I know there was one girl that was like a hippy dippy girl, and she was supposed to be like the Jesse and Lisa together type of character. And you're like, well, we got to keep the dynamic going. And like, who's Screech gonna like that? Who cares?
Actually, I think it was. I think now that you mentioned it, I don't think Kelly was in the college years at the beginning. I think
She wasn't. She didn't get at it until halfway through the season, and at that point,
Zach was looking at another person.
yeah. Well, Zach, of course, was looking at somebody else. So. He's like Captain Kirk. He's like, oh, you got green skin? Yeah. You look good in the bikini. Let's go. No, yeah, he had high standards, and he was a schemer. Very, very bad schemer. So these are the college years. And then at the same time they were doing the college years, they rebooted the show with a whole new cast and called it The New Class.
Oh.
the first season of the new class did so well. It was such a blockbuster hit, Mike. They fired the entire cast and recast the entire show with new characters.
They did?
Pretty much. I think like Mr. Belding survived. They brought back Screech, and they might have kept 1 or 2 of the cast members from the first season. I don't know. I didn't watch it.
Uh-huh.
It was one of those shows like I checked on it once in a while just to see how it was doing, to see if I found it funny at all. But that first season, they literally tried to recreate every single character with a different actor. There's a guy, the Scott something or other. He was the new Zack. They had Weasel, who was the new Screech. You know, they had the jock guy. His guy this time, his name was Tom, and then in Tom's girlfriend was the new Kelly. And you know, it was literally like cut and paste. Like, okay, we're gonna cut paste, do a little changing in Photoshop. Okay, it's a new photo.
Actually, but they also kept the same theme song.
Yeah, they kept the same theme.
That.
They still went to the max. They went and kept the same sets. Those sets have been used. They're still being used to this day, I believe. There are shows like on Nickelodeon and on Disney Channel that are still using the Saved by the Bell set.
So now at this
It
point,
was used in Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
so what we're saying here is at this point we're on Saved by the Bell, the new class.
You forgot a new. The most important.
I'm not doing it again.
Like Humbugger, and McCormick. You forgot a Humbugger, and the most important one too. Oh, this is totally off topic. I just want to talk about this. I follow British Parliament because it's fun. Because when they do Parliament, they argue like crazy, like crazy. And they had it where the Prime Minister was giving a quote, and she's talking to the Labour Party, and she's like, "Well, I know you would appreciate," and that was a quote from Marx. I knew you would appreciate a quote from Marx, except it was from Groucho Marx. And I thought that was funny.
Gotcha.
Okay, we lost half our audience. Going back. Groucho Marx getting quoted in the ballot.
I gotta say, since we're talking about we brought up like Screech just recently.
Yep.
I don't know if anyone's ever asked this question. It's name an actor that I want to see if I can word this without wording it badly, because it's gonna sound badly the way that I have it in my head. But it's name an actor that could end up, that you wouldn't be hurt, I guess. Yep. Finding out that they like died in an airplane crash, but after that they became bigger than they were before, like super insanely popular. And for me, that was always Dustin Diamond.
I had a chance to meet him, and it was simply because he was doing stand-up comedy, and he went to a club that was a town away, and then I knew like that place is so small, I would have ended up meeting Screech. Wasn't worth it to me.
It's a good thing you did.
What's that?
It's a good thing you did.
Oh,
Yeah.
He's had his issues. Did you watch that? Did you watch the unauthorized story, behind the scenes story, the Saved by the Bell?
Is that the one from him?
Yeah, the one like he wrote it and then they put it on A&E.
I didn't watch it, but I heard that a whole bunch of cast has come out and said that none of it's not true.
I'm sure. I mean, there's got to be parts of it that are true, and he didn't put everybody in a horrible picture. They go, he was so. Yeah, I mean, he said some mean stuff, and then the whole thing with like Lark Voorhees, who played Lisa, and like Mark Ball Gosselaar, who was Zach, having a relationship, totally plausible to me. Whether or not it's true or not, it was still kind of cool to watch. I wish they would do an official one for this show that should not be as popular or as remembered as it is today, but it is. We were going through the lineage of what happened with the show. We got completely sidetracked. Can we go back?
I do want to point something out on the show itself. I mean, it doesn't seem like a big deal today, but the whole thing with Screech and Lisa, that was a big thing back then. It was the 80s, the interracial thing.
Who cares?
That's who cares now.
Yeah.
But I mean,
back then.
Yeah, we didn't care back then because we were kids. Yeah. But it's kind of an interesting thing to put in the air back then. Versus nowadays it would be nothing big. So I think that was a pretty bold move of them back then. To do.
Yeah, it was, I guess, in hindsight, I look at it and I'm like I just said 3 times already, I never cared. I didn't care. I mean, I was all about Kelly Kapowski. That was the that was the crux of the existence. That was the reason to tune in if like, "Oh, this episode sucks, but she's in it." And then they would say, "Yes, yes, I can see her belly. I can see her belly." Uh, I, was it there was the one season, it was the final season. They did 13 episodes, and then the network ordered 13 more. And they couldn't lock in Elizabeth Berkley and Tiffany Amber Thiessen in for those 13 extra episodes. So they brought in Tori.
Oh, I remember Tori. Oh my gosh, a biker girl.
Yeah, so they bring in Tori, don't explain who she is, don't explain why she's there, don't explain why 2 people who were in every other episode up until then are no longer around. And they started alternating. 1 week it's a Tori episode, then it's a regular episode. Tori episode, regular episode. Tori episode, regular episode. And that, like I said, never explaining to anybody anything why this is the way it is. They would go and say, "Oh, geez, it's too bad. It's too bad Jesse and Kelly are away at cheerleader camp," or "Too bad they had that horrible car accident. They can't be around this week." Look,
Their dad just actually looking good for them.
and have like Tori die in a horrible motorcycle accident just to explain why she's not around anymore. Nothing. She just evaporated in the thin air. It's like when they had the summer job and they had Remini playing Zach's love interest, and she evaporated in the thin air once the summer ended.
Or according to Zack Morris's trash, killed herself.
Yes, because anybody who shows up on that show and then never shows up again, they obviously killed themselves. That's because Zack Morris is that horrible of a person that you walk away, no matter how good you are, no matter how righteous you feel and how good of a person you are, you meet him and you just want to just right after you're done, you're just done. This is how bad humanity can get. I can't live in a world like this.
So here's a kind of radical idea. Um,
Oh, we didn't
I'm
talk
gonna kind of hop to something else. Fast and Furious. Okay, so we all know that was it Paul Walker passed away?
Yeah.
Car accident. I always thought Paul Walker and Mark Paul Gosselaar looked pretty similar. So my thought is, if they ever want to bring his character back in, Mark Paul Gosselaar would be a good choice for that.
I don't like the Fast and the Furious movies.
Oh, well, see, I do.
That's okay.
Yeah.
They-
You're
We
missing.
don't have to argue about this.
No, but I'm just saying I always get there's times I'll like look at the screen and go, is that this one? And then they're like, no, it's the other one. So
I never got into those. Those are just movies that I don't think are. I just never got into it. It's like that. I don't like the new Transformer movies. Oh yeah, if people who love them, that's perfectly fine. I don't like say, oh geez, you must be dumb or something. I don't care. Whatever.
no, I just say, oh, geez,
There's dumb shit I'm into. I mean, here I'm doing an episode about Saved by the Bell for Christ's sake. I mean,
pick up in the morning and the
so continuing on, they did movies
yes.
with these fucking people.
Watch A. Isn't that the word that you can't say?
For my rules. They did movies with these people. They did 2 movies. One they went to Vegas and one they went to Hawaii. I think the Hawaii one happened first, right?
I think
Did it? I don't know. I should have Wikipedia, but I don't care enough. Um, yeah, they did 2 movies, and then at the end of the last movie, Zach and Kelly get married. Maybe they should do a spin-off series where their kids in high school now, being an
Screech is still a virgin.
he's still the assistant principal,
Oh, okay.
but he married Miss Bliss, so it's all right.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
That's a horrible image. Because I would imagine by the time the Screech's principal, Miss Bliss, is like no longer around.
His wedding picture is him next to a coffin. I loved her so much. Our love transcended time.
Good morning, Miss Bliss. Ooh, what's so good about it? Close the
Hope you have a
coffin.
good day. Don't tell me what kind of day to have.
Oh, I think I just do like an Italian vampire right there. Close the coffin. I don't want to see the sunlight.
Oh, this is like the vampires. You kill them with breadsticks. Breadstick right to the heart.
Ooh, it's the garlic bread.
It's a garlic bread. Oh man. So yeah, what was I saying? They did 2 movies. They wrapped up the whole thing. They got married. And I think the second movie was like on TBS or something. Like NBC didn't even show it. TBS did. Because TBS was huge on Saved by the Bell. They showed that thing like 6 times a day. I remember I'd come home from school, I'd fall asleep in front of the TV watching Saved by the Bell, and I'd wake up 2 hours later and Saved by the Bell's still on. You know?
You had a doctor school? Because mine was always just Saturday mornings. Saturday mornings at 11 to 12. 2 episodes.
TBS had the syndication rights.
Oh, okay.
And then they also showed it like on some other channel too, but TBS, like they do it like they still do it today, where they take a show and like they'll have like Friends on for 4 hours straight or something like that. You know, they're not as bad as FXX with The Simpsons, which shows The Simpsons pretty much nonstop. I call it The Simpsons Channel. They're so bad with it. But yeah, I would watch that every day after school. I would watch Saved by the Bell. And then they would mix in episodes of Good Morning Miss Bliss, and then they eventually started mixing in episodes of the college years.
Interesting.
Yeah, well, they had to do something with. I mean, the college years lasted for 1 season. That's not enough to syndicate it on its own. So you have to kind of wrap it in with something else.
So basically, you're watching one episode of Zack Morris at 12, and the next episode of Zack Morris at 20,
Yes,
and then back to 14.
14 or yeah, well, it was 14 or 12 or whatever. He was in middle school, 8th grade, 12.
Yeah.
So one of he's 12, scamming 13-year-old girls into thinking he has a driver's license. And then in the next episode, he's 19, scamming girls into thinking he's old enough to drink.
Exactly.
He's always scamming girls into something, it's like.
Yeah, and then they'll come out. They'll come out with a next one where you're in the 40s. You're like, I got Social Security, woman.
But yeah. That's Saved by the Bell. Is there more that we got to talk about on this?
I don't even think there is any more that really needs to be discussed about Saved by the Bell.
The legacy from this is as follows. Dustin Diamond, he did so well, he spent time in jail.
Yep.
Zack Morris, Mark Paul Gosselaar went on to do other TV shows. I think he's still doing a TV show on like ABC or something. Tiffany Amber Thiessen went on to do 90210, and I don't know what she's done after that. Elizabeth Berkley played a stripper, and then
Tatas.
what's that?
Showed her tatas.
And I don't know what she did after that.
Crashed and burned.
Lark Florey, Planet. Yeah, I was being nice.
I guess she was being she became an author or something.
Yeah, I heard that she went a little insane.
A lot insane.
A lot insane. And then finally, Mario Lopez, you can see every day on one of those entertainment news channel, news programs, Inside Edition or Inside Edition or Entertainment Tonight or whatever the name of the program is. I was going to say Inside Entertainment, but that was the show that I was part of. We would have loved to have Mario Lopez on Inside Entertainment. He would have been a get.
Why don't we have Mario Lopez on the show right now?
Why, are you gonna do an impersonation or?
Well, no, I'm talking about we should have contacted him, asked him to be like the third person on the show.
We never would have got him.
Well,
He's making more money in a year than we make in like 10.
So
He's not making more money in a year than we make in a lifetime. I don't think he's up to that level, but he's doing good. He's living comfortably. Um, so that's where, and then was it Mr. Belding? He stayed with the new class until that ended. After I think they did 8 seasons of the new class.
Are you serious? How many seasons?
I
Jeez.
don't remember. It was on for a long time. They must have just every year just got a new class in just to keep the name.
guess so.
Like, we made it to the end of the season. We got extended. We got one more. We got a new season coming up. NBC gave us a new season. They're all clapping. Yay! Um. Okay. So when I say your name, step forward. And if I say your name, you are continuing on to the next season. Mr. Belding. That is all.
Oh, and don't forget Screech.
Oh, Screech. Mr. Belding, Screech. Yeah, everybody, get your
Wait, we're not done. We're not done with the. And also, the staff at the hotspot or whatever the name of the food place was where they you see
the max.
the Max. Yes, all the staff at the Max.
I think that moved from Indiana too.
That did, yes.
They took an entire restaurant and it was like airlifted all the way to Los Angeles. They could have kept that show in Indiana. I don't know why they like. I mean, yeah, I guess they wanted the surfer appeal and all that, but who really cares, you know? But
Yeah.
what?
Well, I mean, California is much cooler than Indiana, so.
Yep.
So.
Indiana, the Pacers. I don't know. Got to keep pace, I guess. The Colts. What other teams are there? You don't know.
Hoosiers?
What's that?
Hoosiers?
Oh my God, you had an answer?
I did have an answer for that.
I didn't answer.
And I think it was right too.
What sport do they play?
The one with the ball and the nets.
That's a pretty good description of basketball coming from you.
Thank you.
Like they got nets and a ball and they score points.
And they're not supposed to go to different countries because they can't travel.
What?
I don't want to explain that one to you. Hey, eventually you'll get it.
What?
Dude, traveling.
No. That was one of those a dad joke I saw. It was like the kid was like learning how to walk and he was walking like he learned how to walk and took his first steps while holding a basketball. He took 3 steps and the mom goes, "Aren't you proud?" And the father was like, "No, he's traveling."
I saw one of those it was one of the Korean first pitches. And I think it was the lady who did the flip and then threw it.
Yep.
And I'm like, that is just if this was what baseball would be like, I would watch baseball every time because that was impressive. And some person
Asia does baseball right. They do baseball right. They are
goes, dude, you're cutting me off, man. Some person goes on there but balk. I don't even know what a balk is, but I guess that's something bad. And who cares? It looked cool.
A balk is when a pitcher is just a fielder unless they're on the mound on the one that strip that's on the mound. Once they're on the strip, they're the pitcher. And once they like touch it in their hand, then they have this. I think they have to then pitch the ball. And if the ball doesn't leave their hand, it's a balk. I think. The balk is it's one of those very weird baseball rules. It's one of those things like you'll go years without seeing a balk getting called in baseball, and then you'll see it 3 times in a week. It's very strange. It's like a walk-off home, or no, it's like a ground rule double. You don't see ground rule doubles all the time. Infield fly rule, you don't see that all the time. It's a weird baseball rule. Baseball's got a lot of weird rules. But we're not talking about baseball. We're wrapping up our show about Saved by the Bell. Saved by the Bell. Saved by the Bell. It's available to watch on Hulu, which I had to find out because I had to prep for this episode. He gave me a link to Daily Rate. Just everywhere. Yeah, Rayleigh's is not everywhere. Um, Mike has stock in Rayleigh's apparently, or his wife or
Bailey's.
or he works there. Oh, you're a stock boy at Rayleigh's? Is that what you said?
No, I'm stalking Rayleigh's.
You're stalking Rayleigh.
I'm stalking Rayleigh's.
Oh, because you're looking for sponsorship.
Yes, exactly.
Aha.
I am worth the money.
I think we are just about done. If you want to, if you want a sneak peek of an episode you weren't supposed to see yet, check out Pastor Humor. It's ran by my pastor Judah Thomas. I'd like to say thank you, Judah, for watching the episode ahead of time and liking it so much that you shared it. You know what? It's already one of our top. It's one of our top episodes, and it's not even supposed to be out yet. So that and Mike, if you got anything to say other than go to some grocery store that's down the street from your house.
Thank you for watching, Ben.
Thank you for watching Ben.
No, I'm thanking you for watching it because I know like you're one of our views.
Actually, I don't watch any of our shows.
Okay, so thank you for watching me, but it's quick. Not a
I check it to make sure that the sound works.
Okay, all right, then fine. Let me do this over. If you are watching our show right now, you are doing better than we are.
You didn't spend the last 2 days of your life watching a 20-year-old show. Actually, yeah, like I said, I watched that one episode, and then I watched a couple of Zack Morris's are trash because he really is. With the homeless girl.
How'd she kill herself?
Well, she's probably just continuing to be homeless in Los Angeles. I mean, she probably just went to the wrong part of town or something. Went to skate around or the Jumbo Baby.
You're gonna die.
And now she lives under the bridge.
Downtown.
All these song lyric references about Los Angeles.
Old to understand.
Yeah, and you're like, all right.
All right, let's end this now. All right, so I'm gonna go down. I'm gonna hit record.
So now I have to go and this is gonna be an episode I actually have to edit because I said the F word. I have to go and find where I said the F word.
You have to watch the show.
I have to take it out. All right. We're babbling on, and you people are like, I had better things to do.
What's watching at this point? It's over now. They're just saying by the bell. We're not even talking about that anymore.
They're on Pastor Humor's page looking for the lost episode of our show.
Okay, well, go ahead and bye everybody. I'm gonna stop recording now. And I can't find the button. All right.